Joining me now is national security expert, former federal agent, expert on Islam, who went in now to over 425 mosques in America. He joins me tonight to give us an update on Iran, the attack potentially by America and Israel on Iran, and the growing Islamic compounds and neighborhoods all over America. We have some brand new and stunning video to show you tonight, as well as imams declaring what Islam is really all about. Everything we say that it's about, but then get accused of being Islamophobic when we say what it really is all about. Joining me is Dave Gobbets, co-author of the book Muslim Mafia with Paul Sperry. David, thank you for joining us by phone tonight.
I appreciate it, Brandon. Thank you.
I want to go first to a story that we were the first national outlet to break this week, bringing national attention to AmericanTruckers.com. Two guys that are, well, from the trucking industry. And what they have found, David, is a huge number of non-American citizens, illegals, many of them from the Middle East, Somalia, and other places, driving 18-wheelers. Even the cartels we have under congressional testimony or testimony in Arkansas, one of the trucking association representatives stating that the cartels are making fake CDL licenses. We now have documented numerous examples where these illegal invaders driving these 18-wheelers are running over and killing Americans. We discussed this the other night with the guys over at AmericanTruckers.org. As I said, we are getting flooded with emails and text from over-the-road drivers, phone calls when we are on live radio, 1 o'clock Central on 74 stations. They're flooding our phone lines, telling us that in some cases when they go to truck stops, they don't see any American drivers or just a couple. The rest are illegals or for foreigners, many of them driving with fake CDLs or CDLs that were given to them under the wrong kind of paperwork. Talk to me about your concerns when you hear this, probably for the first time, when we're talking about custody of food, meat, potential for bioweapons, poisoning the food supply, using these trucks for terrorist attacks. What comes to your mind when you hear this, what I'm telling you right
Brandon,
now?
I'm glad you brought this up. Years ago, I had information that what you're talking about, truck drivers, a lot of them illegal immigrants who got CDL licenses, they use their trucks many times for money laundering purposes in order to finance terrorism. And I'll give you an example of how that works. In some states, like I'm in Virginia, you got a lot of convenience stores owned by Muslims. And I'm not saying all Muslims are bad. I'm just saying that many convenience stores are owned by Muslims as their religion. And for example, cigarettes in Virginia are very, very cheap compared to like New York and Boston, etc. So what they've done, and I've covered this over the years, is they fill their trucks up in Virginia from the convenience stores with thousands of boxes of cigarettes and tobacco products, and then they take it to places like New York, triple their profit, and then use that money, turn that money into financing for terrorism. And I'm sure that's going on right now, even more so.
How concerned are you when it comes to the fact that they could get control of large shipments of food, like meat?
Oh, that's very concerning, because I was talking with some people recently. When a country gets approximately 2% population of Muslims, that's when you see more and more activity. Like England and France and Germany have exceeded the 2%. I think the U.S., when I last looked at the analysis, was about 1.6. You're going to start seeing more and more activity such as this, where they example, using the trucks. They take our food products all across the United States. They could do anything with that food. They could poison it. And a lot of people say, well, that could not happen. Well, they did it during Operation Iraqi Freedom with the food that was coming to the U.S. troops in Iraq. A lot of times we found food had been poisoned, the water had been poisoned. So it's an avenue for them to do many, many drastic things.
Well, we're trying to bring national attention to it. And as I said, we were being told by the guys at American Truckers that .com that we were the first national outlet to bring this forefront and give it national coverage. We're also now finding on our X account, House Live, HOWSE, House Live, or Worldview Tube as our other Twitter account, that we got a lot of over-the-road professional drivers now following us. So, and a lot of them are really thankful we're bringing this to the attention of the American people because they've been seeing it firsthand for a long time. So I knew you would have a thought on this. Now, I want to go to Yasser Qadi, someone that I've been covering now since I think 2010, somewhere in there, and really heavily in 2017, who moved from the mosque down the road from our studio to Plano, Texas, is now building a 402-acre compound. Whether it's California, Plano, Texas, another area of Dallas, Michigan, we are finding out about these humongous Islamic compounds being built. I want to play a video for you. It's a Muslim guy riding around on his motorcycle with a camera, giving a tour of this Muslim neighborhood, even with Muslim names. I want you to listen to this. Here we go.
It's okay, sister. Oh, mashallah, brother. Oh, brother, wow. You are good. Everybody is Muslim here. Names have been chosen on Muslim scientists of the golden era of Islam. So this is the masjid, mashallah. They have the Salam Masjid here.
Mashallah, pura Muslim area.
Private park. All right, I can't play here. Mashallah written on all of them. Allah Muhammad. Oh my God, this one is a real beauty. This is Muslims, right? Medina villas, I knew it. They're Muslim. The masjid is right next door. You just walk to the masjid.
This is Plano, Texas, epic. And the mosque is right there. You just walk from the neighborhood to the mosque. Let's keep going. This is what we've been talking about, folks. Here we go.
MashaAllah, that's how easy it is here. Subhanallah, in America, in the United States. Welcome to Irving, Texas.
And now we're in Irving, Texas. We were Plano, now we're Irving, Texas. They're taking over, people.
Entering a very interesting community, a community made up of Muslims, a community where the street names are all Muslims. This is the Valencia State's Mahmoud Egal Drive. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen, only in Dallas, Texas, where you will see these homes where not even the people inside are Muslim, but actually the name of the streets are Muslim. Amal Saleh Drive, Subhanallah. Check out these homes. We are looking at these homes here in Irving, Texas. There's another brother. Assalamu alaikum, brother. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. This is ideal life for Muslims, where you can say salam to everybody. Subhanallah. Amal Saleh Drive and Salma Jamil Court. I've never seen a place like this before. So in America, usually you have, Christian names, white names, Western names of streets, Jackson Street, Edward Street, John Street. This is the playground for your Muslim kids. They can play here.
Okay, I'm going to fast forward a little bit, folks. Here we go. Let's keep going. Here's a guy that he let drive his motorcycle. I guess he was from Somalia. Now he's going to take us to the school. Okay, here's the school in this neighborhood. Here we go.
Here, huh?
Yeah.
MashaAllah, the Somalians that I go way back. Not only from Minnesota, but Islamabad. So this is the masjid. MashaAllah, they have the Salam Masjid here. When you have a community, instead of a recreation, instead of a, whatever else, you just make a masjid. Because for Muslims, the community center is actually the Muslim. MashaAllah, the masjid is open here. Salam and smile. They have the hadith. They have a preschool around here. Let's check it out. This is the wudu room. do wudu right here, you know, the bathrooms. And then this is the men's hall. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Beautiful masjid in this community. No need to go anywhere else. MashaAllah, the masjid is open as well. So if you're a traveler like me, you can just hang out at the masjid. It's turning out to be better than I expected. So we are exploring Ali Akbar Court. Subhanallah. This is it. Ali Akbar Court.
Ali Akbar Court. Ali Akbar Court, David. The street names are Muslim. The residents are Muslim. They have their mosque in the neighborhood. This is in Irving, Texas. We were in Dallas. Now we're in Irving. Thoughts, David?
Well, I lived in the Dallas area for several years and conducted research in numerous mosques. And I can tell you that CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, has a big influence in the Dallas area and all throughout Texas. And they're expanding. They feel right now that it's safe to expand, build more mosques, and they build it. When they build a mosque in a certain town or city, they're doing it for a purpose. And it's because in Dallas right now you have many, unfortunately, liberal leaders who are allowing this activity to take place. You know, you have the 35 Jamiat al-Fuqra type compounds scattered throughout the U.S., and they are very, very dangerous. When you talk about Somalians, it brings to mind when I went to Tennessee a few years back and went to a Somalian mosque, and it was very apparent that child abuse was taking place in the mosque. You're going to see the same type of activity in Plano or Irving, and it's really sad because Irving has a major criminal justice academy right next to several of the mosques there, and I've taught at that academy. It's very dangerous, Brandon. They're expanding, and more so. And, you know, I love our President Trump. He's doing an outstanding job, I think. But right now I'm seeing that there's been a neglect to look at the spread of Islam throughout the U.S.,
Yep.
and I'm not sure the reasoning of that at this point.
Indeed. Listen a little bit more. Irving, Texas, the guy on his motorcycle filming, giving commentary, all the Muslim names, the Muslim houses, the mosque. He approaches a driver getting out of a car. Listen to what this man says.
Well, how are you? I was just visiting this old Muslim names, huh?
MashaAllah.
Oh, आप पाकिस्तानी?
Indian. MashaAllah, पूरा मुसलमान area.
He says this is all Muslim area. Okay, this is all Muslim area.
मस्जिद भी है अगर आपको
There's a masjid over there. I saw the masjid.
मैंने देखा मस्जिद को ना तो
बहुत अच्छा है।
आप इधर मूव हो गए?
नहीं मैं मूव नहीं मैं काम करता हूँ
अच्छा अच्छा माशाल्लाह
उधर काम करता हूँ या मेरे बिजनेस की गाड़ी में।
सही 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 रियल एस्टेट का
नहीं कार का
अच्छा अच्छा माशाल्लाह वेरी नाइस हाँ ये मैंने पहली दफा देखा सारे नाम
He said, this is the first time I saw all the street names are Muslim.
गलियों के ये मुसलमान है कभी ऐसा मैंने देखा नहीं
Never saw something like this before.
माशाल्लाह भी लिखा हुआ है हर जगह
पे रुकिए इंशाल्लाह
If you stay, you will meet a lot of Muslim during prayer.
आपको बहुत सारे मुसलमान भाई मिल जाएंगे हम जोहर के टाइम पे
अच्छा अच्छा
गेट टुगेदर थोड़ा चिल
अच्छा चले इंशाल्लाह मैं टाइम मिला चले नाइस टू मीट यू ब्रदर अस्सलाम वालेकुम We're back on Salma Jameel. So brother said if you come during Zohar time you can meet some Muslimin but
Well, there you go. They had a meeting the other night, David, in Texas, where citizens could come forward and make comment about this epic center being built. I want you to just to hear. I mean, public comment after public comment. People were spilling out into the foyer. I want you to hear this one gentleman.
My name is Brent Thomas. I am a sixth generation Texan. One gentleman has me beat by a year, but my family's been here since 1832. The first property we owned was given by the state of Texas for serving in the Texas militia in 1836. But he won who's the bigger Texan battle, so I congratulate him. Everything's a lot. There's been a lot of things said, but there's a couple things I wanted to bring to your attention. I learned about this about 45 days ago and started to evaluate, okay, how do I do this? How do I uphold the freedoms that we hold so dear and balance the risk and the danger and the potential danger that see with this? And that's been gone over numerous times. But this is, to me, this is bigger than religion. It's bigger than Jewish, Christian, Muslim. This is light and darkness. And in that community that's segregated, that will be a dark, dark place. There's no difference between me or anybody else in here, Muslim excluded. I spent a lot of my life walking in darkness. It's only by God's grace that I'm not. And I share that in common with I think a human desire to search for a connection with God. So that's how I come to anybody of a different religion, non-religion, is we have that in common. Allowing this to be opened allows the darkness to grow. And as far as what this sect believes, their leaders do not condemn Hamas. When you ask them, you get silence, and that's the answer. I don't need to go through the horrific things that have been seen, but when you see a Israeli Navy SEAL come to tears by one of the videos he saw, it makes it hard for me to not sin in my anger. This cannot be allowed, and this sect wants to go back to their foundational 6th and 7th century. If you look at what happened in the 6th and 7th century across the Mediterranean, those used to be Christian countries, all of them. And that's my final plea. It's not hidden. They say it all online.
They say it all online, and indeed they do, David. I mean, the public comment section over this epic, people have awakened. I guess my only criticism, David, is this guy, I guess he found out about this 45 days ago, and God bless him for getting up to speed. But David, you and I have been warning Americans for a few decades now, more than a few decades. And I hate to say it, but I'm afraid a lot of them are waking up way too late. If they'd turned off the football, turned off the Dancing with the Stars, turned off the, other stupid shows and got educated, they wouldn't have just found out about this 45 days ago. And I'm afraid many of them are finding out way too late. And I don't trust Greg Abbott to do one thing about it. I think that man is full of hot air until he proves otherwise. What say you, David?
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, Brandon, as you'd mentioned, I've been to over 425 mosques in America and conducted research anywhere from 1 day to 3 weeks, some in one case 6 months. And I can tell you right now, without even going to that mosque, I can tell you it's Salafist, Sunni, very hardcore, with a lot of Saudi Arabian support, financial support. And as the gentleman stated, it is very dark. It's going to get even darker because they're going to continue to expand in America. That is a mosque that may be number 426 for me to conduct research in.
Yes, please do, David. Please. Listen to this imam. I got a few clips I want to play for you, what these imams are admitting. Here we go.
Classically, Islamic classifies the world as Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb.
Now, legally.
Okay, did you pick that up, David? Islam classifies the world. Explain that to our audience.
Yes, Islam, people need to understand, Islam, they're not here to put the Muslim people to assimilate in America. They're here to expand the Ummah, the nation. Islam, according to Islamic scholars that I've talked to throughout America and the Middle East, define Islam as a political, economic, and military ideology that uses religion as a tool to achieve their goals, which is to establish Islam and Islamic Ummah nation worldwide to include America. So what they're saying is Islam in America. America belongs to Islam.
Listen to this, Imam. Here we go.
Chapter of Jihad, so nobody says we're making things up. Chapter of Jihad. We will open the chapter of Jihad that is present in all of our mosques. That I wish that I could be killed for the sake of Allah, then brought back to life, then killed, then brought back to life, then killed, then brought back to life, then killed once again, and then you go become a martyr and you go and you get your 72 virgins. And this is not something that we are just reading. This is not a magazine. This is Sahih al-Bukhari. The authentic. Sahih means authentic. After intense filtration for 1,200 years, this is what we have now come with to form the religion of Islam. So when you see its non-stop attacks towards the West, you know why. Because they themselves wish to die, come back to life, to die again, come back to life, and die and come and non-stop. This love for death that they have.
I would have loved nothing more than to strive for the sake of my Creator until I am killed in that path. And then I would have loved to have been resurrected and then killed, and then resurrected and then killed, and then resurrected and then killed. He said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if it was up to me, I would have 4 lives that I give for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other.
If you ask the martyr while he's in Jannah, what is your wish? He will say, I want to go back to this world and to be killed in the cause of Allah. And go back and to be killed in the cause of Allah.
Allah has human enemies on earth, and my role as a Muslim is to kill his enemies on earth.
David, this is being taught in the Mosque of America, particularly on Friday prayers, correct?
Yes, Friday Jummah prayers, exactly. Jihad, people need to understand, when you talk to many Muslims, they're going to try to sidetrack you. They will say jihad is an inner struggle like families have with, the children involved with drugs, etc., immoral acts. So they consider it an internal struggle. But in reality, when they talk about jihad in the mosque, they're talking about jihad qatal. That's like Qital, which means fighting. And that's exactly what jihad is. He's repeating, he's been very, very open. He's repeating exactly what Muhammad said, Prophet Muhammad, that you should fight, get killed, and then if possible, that you should die, return, fight, be killed. And that is exactly what they're teaching in the mosque, all 3,500 mosques throughout America, to kill.
And here is another imam. Here we go. They're telling you, plain up, straight up. Here we go.
Dying in the cause of Allah. Yeah, there is a prize for those who die in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you ask the martyr while he's in Jannah, what is your wish? He will say, I want to go back to this world and to be killed in the cause of Allah. And go back and to be killed in the cause of Allah.
Imam the other day in a lecture, and it was hard to swallow some of what he is saying. He says, homosexuals are dirty, filthy dogs who should be killed by throwing them from a mountain. Muslims should discriminate against homosexuals. He stood up for Osama bin Laden. He said Osama bin Laden is better than 1 million George Bushes and 1,000 Tony Blairs. And number one, the reason I bring this up is because these statements were made on camera by Sheikh Abu Usama at-Tahabi, who you'll be having on your show on Saturday. And number two, my larger cause for concern over this, which is that last month you made a similar video where you said that coronavirus is a punishment for the West for its acceptance of homosexuality. Here's my question. Your organization, CMCC, claims that it is in diverse Muslim communities. Exactly whose needs are you serving in the Colorado Muslim community by putting this sort of extremism and homophobia into the minds of American Muslims?
Brother, we're fasting. I'm going to say I'm fasting to you. Assalamu alaikum. Jihad al-talab. And that's what has to do with da'wah. You go out there to a community and you let them know, listen, I need to let your people know about Islam. You have three choices. Fight, jizya, or you allow us in.
Wait, fight, jihad, I guess. Jizya, pay a tax, or you let us in. We get that again. Your three choices.
Fight, jizya, or you allow us in. I know this sounds weird, but that's how it is.
Okay, wait a minute. So David, fight, jizya, the tax, or you let us in. Those are the three he said from the imam from the mosque. You want to pick it up on that, please?
Yes, exactly what he's saying is when they come into a country, the people have three choices. One, you can either fight them, and he's saying that if you fight them, you're going to lose. So that's one option, that you're going to be killed if you do fight them. Two, you can accept the Islamic Ummah nation being in your country, and you're going to have to pay a tax, a very high tax, unless you, go to Islam. Or third, you're going to be killed. There's no choice. If they're coming into your country, is what he's saying.
Right.
You can fight us, which you're going to lose, or you can pay a tax, or you're simply just going to be killed.
Let's go to see what more this imam says. Here we go.
The Prophet said to us what? فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِالْجِهَادِ.
Let me back up and boost the volume because that one's a little softer, guys. Here we go.
I know this sounds weird, but that's how it is. The Prophet said to us what? فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِالْجِهَادِ. The best that you can do is jihad. The jihad that we know of, which is fighting. Although fighting, there is nothing wrong with it if it's justified. We don't want to cancel out this from the revelation. We can do that. But what I want to say is when the Prophet said, alaykum bil jihad, that everybody in his location. Khilafah ala minhaj al-nubuwwah. We actually happen to exist at this time. That is when Islam becomes global. No other religion will be accepted but Islam. This is the time you're living in. Kill the swine, the pig, rules the world, and establish the Sharia, and no other religion will be accepted but Islam. In the West, America will be gone, I tell you that. Now the responsibility of punishing the disbelievers, keeping them away from misguiding people, is given to the believers on earth. If the believers stick to the guidance, follow the deen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will aid them, will support them against the disbelievers, and through the act of jihad, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish the disbelievers, the hypocrites. It has to happen at the hands of the believers, the jihad, the act of jihad. And that continued on with the Sharia of Islam. If America knows about this Sharia, I'm telling you, if you can convince the public, away from the politicians, away from the senators, because these guys, they have different agenda. But if you convince the public, they're going to go in the street and say, long live Sharia, long live Sharia. They will do it. But we have to convince them.
Wow. Long live Sharia, but we're going to have to convince them. Is he implying that once we learn about Sharia, we're going to be excited about it, David?
That's what he's trying to do. And they do this through the liberal media, just like CARE does, is to try to convince the people in America that Islam is the true one religion and it's very peaceful, loving, caring. It's good for your families. They teach this in interfaith when they go to the local churches in their community. The imams go to the churches and they talk about how peaceful and assimilating and caring and loving that Islam is. And they try to get the leader of the church on their side. And they've told me before, several Islamic imams have told me that when we go to a church, we essentially are recruiting the minister, priest, preacher, whatever it may be. And then once we got them on our side, it doesn't matter if that church has 1,000 worshipers. They know that that minister will keep those people in line. So this is exactly what they're doing throughout America, is trying to convince the public that Islam is good. And then in reality, he's telling you what it is that disbelievers will be punished. And when he says punished, he's talking about killing disbelievers, not giving them a fine, but killing them.
This is a speech. Now, he has passed away a few years ago, but this is an older speech by Admiral Ace Lyon. Admiral, U.S. Navy Admiral Ace Lyon, a very decorated man. People should read his bio. This is not a man to be underestimated in his patriotism, his military history, and his understanding. I want our listeners, David, to hear what Admiral Ace Lyon warned our country about several years ago during the Obama administration.
You know, we have, as President Obama has said, he wants to fundamentally transform America. Well, what is it? Well, let me tell you. It's un-American, it's anti-Western, but pro-Islam, pro-Iranian, and pro-Muslim Brotherhood. You have to ask yourself, why would an American president embrace the Muslim Brotherhood, whose creed is to destroy us from within with our own miserable hands and replace our Constitution with draconian Sharia law? You got it right. Now, hey, I'm always holding back. Now, you understand we have a serious national security crisis. When you have a president who is not interested in America leading or America winning, then you know the greatest threat to our national security resides at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We have a president who refuses to identify the enemy. It was Erdogan, when he was Prime Minister of Turkey, who said it best. Islam is Islam. There are no modifiers. Democracy is the train we ride to our ultimate objective, which is to make Islam dominant throughout the world. He couldn't have said it any plainer. Islam is a totalitarian ideology bent on world domination masquerading as a religion. And I got to tell you, I reject the term radical Islam. That implies there's some moderate Islam. There ain't any, and you all know it. But you got to get the word out.
Wow. That's exactly when it really went into high gear, is it not, under the Obama administration, David?
Yeah, yes, it did. And I mean, that is a very, very intelligent man. And I highly recommend people keep up with what he had written and spoken about. Because when he said Islam is one, so many people talk about, well, they're moderate Islam and they're extremists and they're radical. There is one Islam, and that is pure Islam. Any Muslim who does not abide by Sharia law 100% is an apostate of Islam, and they themselves are subject to be killed. There is no moderate, peace-loving Islam. It is a hate-filled, violent ideology that is, and their intention is to take over the world, and they are not holding back. Don't believe what I'm saying or what the Admiral says. Just listen as you've had on your recordings what they say. Their intentions is to take over the world, which includes America.
One last clip here, David. Listen to this. This is actually some guys sitting around in their robes and Islamic hats talking about their religion. Here it is, right from them.
This is actually Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam what do with Aisha. He saved her and he married her when she was 6 years old, and he lived with her. When she reached the 9 years old.
And then he had sex with her at that
After that.
When she ready?
Yeah.
When she ready,
she menstruated at 9, and then he had sex.
When she ready, and they know that she is ready, they have the physical relation.
May I ask a question? Why do you consider that as pedophilia?
I think that a 9-year-old is still a child, so I consider having sex with a 9-year-old to be pedophilia.
But it has already passed that stage. It's not. She became an adult. She finished a stage and entered a new stage. With it, it is considered as an adult. She's physically grown. She has the ability to bear. Like if she gets married, she can get pregnant.
All right, so there's the imam saying Muhammad lived with Aisha, took her at 6. She had her menstruation cycle at 9, and therefore she was considered an adult, and he had sex with her.
Yes, go ahead, Brandon.
And then they said, the interviewer said, isn't this pedophilia? Like, oh, no, because she passed from an adult to a child. Now, I don't know if back that many years ago, 9-year-olds were having their cycles at 9 or not. I know kids today seem to have them very early from what medical doctors I've interviewed on this program talk about, due to a lot of the chemicals and hormones and food and milk and different things. They seem to be getting their cycle earlier. But 9 seems awfully early for a cycle. Is that what they teach, or is that just cover for pedophilia?
Yes, that's exactly what they teach, Brandon. And I kind of hit on that about child abuse in mosques. And I will briefly just talk about one mosque I went to in Tennessee, Nashville area. It was a Somalian mosque. I, myself and another researcher, a female researcher, spent almost 2 weeks in that mosque. We went to Sharia classes every day, every night. We watched the children being beat with sticks when they would not do the right thing in accordance with Sharia. And then we were in one Sharia class. There was a little girl sitting next to us, a little Muslim girl. And the girl told my researcher, she said, my arms are hurting, my legs are hurting. And my researcher said, honey, what's wrong? And the little girl showed her bruises and welts on her arm, back, and legs. And then the little girl said, and my husband does this and my husband does that. The little girl was 7 years old. And Brandon, I had a very difficult time getting law enforcement to get involved in it, because they kept saying, well, that's their religion, that's their culture. No, there's nothing in America that allows for a child to be abused, sexually abused, regardless of what religion they identify with. I tried to get help for that little Muslim girl, because all children to me are innocent. And it took forever, but finally they did help that child, and they ended up closing that particular mosque. But I've seen child abuse all over America. It's happening. They recommend, the imams strongly recommend to their men to try to marry a 6-year-old child, and then when between 6 and 9, when they're married, Prophet Muhammad talked about various things. I won't go in detail about the abuse, essentially, to that child, even before she turns 9 and has her period. And when they do, Prophet Muhammad married Aisha when she was 6, they say that he consummated the marriage when she was 9. In reality, Brandon and the audience, he married a 6-year-old child, and then when she was 9, he raped the child. He didn't just consummate. There's no consent for a child. I don't care if it's 1,400 years ago or today in 2025.
I 100% agree. David, do you believe she actually had her period at 9? Or is that just their way of saying, oh, no, she did, and therefore she was a woman to justify it? I mean, what do you believe really happened?
Based on my discussions with thousands, essentially, of Muslims in various mosques, they recommend you marry a 6-year-old, and then it is just a false statement that they wait until she's 9. They have sex and abuse that child the time they marry that child, but they tell the people that they don't do anything until she's had ministrations.
So the reality is they are involved in sexual activity with 6-year-olds.
100%, and I've got the evidence all across America that they do that.
Which is really interesting because Alfred Kinsey, the sex pervert that America's sex ed is based on, said that children should be sexually active by age 6 before religious taboos can interfere. So isn't it interesting that Alfred Kinsey said 6, they've made the marker age 6. Makes one wonder what's going on there from a demonic standpoint, that age is being embraced by both groups. Wow. All right. One final question, David. We have talk that, of course, and reports, B-2 bombers have been moved to the British island, Diego Garcia, that Iran is getting their missiles ready, that we could see conflict between the U.S. and Israel and Iran together, America and Israel going after Iran. We understand that those, by David Pine and others, that their nuclear program is deep underground, that it would actually take nuclear weapons to get to them. What do you think is likely to happen, and what do you think Iran will do if America and Israel strike Iran? What do you think their response would be, not only to targets in the region, U.S. targets in the region, military bases in the region of the Middle East, but what do you think they will be called by imams in Friday prayers in the mosque in America? What will they be called on to do, if anything?
Well, I believe I've been keeping up with the activities within Iran and the B-52s that we have stationed very close to Iran. I think that one of two things are going to happen, that the Israelis are going to go in and actually do the bombing to take out the nuclear reactors, because Iran, I would say they probably already got them, or within weeks, or will have them. So I think first you're going to see Israel attack, and then as a backup, you're going to have the U.S. attack. Iran is going to call for jihad worldwide for the people, the sleeper cells throughout the world, to include the thousands in America, to become active and commit many more 9/11s and October 7th that we can even imagine.
So people should be preparing accordingly.
They should be prepared, always be prepared, because there are literally thousands and thousands of sleeper cells in America, and they can commit many more atrocities than even 9/11. Be prepared. Take care of your families.
David, how can folks get a hold of you?
It's davegobbets@gmail.com. And just anyone have any questions about the book or anything that I've ever discussed, or any of the undercover research that I've done at the 425 mosques in almost every state, I'm always willing to answer their questions.
Well, you're very kind and generous with your time, and I hope people also get the book Muslim Mafia by Dave Gobbets and Paul Sperry off Amazon, a must-read book for Americans. David, thank you for all you do for our audience.
Thank you, Brandon, and I appreciate it.
You too, my friend. David Gobbets checking in tonight here on Brandon House Live.